Hi, I'm Mick, and this is Movies TV Man, and I am Mick, your host with the most. And welcome to Tuesday's edition of the DCEU Daily. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad. You know, I was up all night watching The Batman, and I watched it again about half an hour ago. I finished watching it. And as I watched the final 10 minutes, something struck me. The guy is talking about vengeance not being part of his future and how he needs to be better, that he needs to be a figure of hope. And the thought come to my mind. And the thought that comes to my mind was, isn't this the way Man of Steel should have ended? Ronnie Dodge, hey mate, we get the Gal Gadot article 5 p.m. UK time. Looking forward to it. Let's see what it's all about. Let's hope it's not just we're doing Wonder Woman 3. Hopefully it's something a bit more exciting than that. Could be absolutely anything. I'll get to it after I'm talking about what I'm talking about. So, that's the thought that struck me as I was watching The Batman. John, hey Mick and Ronnie, hey John. So that's the thought that struck me, that Man of Steel should have ended the way the Batman did. I'll repeat, he's talking about hope and putting vengeance to one side because he sees the damage that his vengeance mission has done, the problem it's created. I wondered if maybe Man of Steel had a similar ending. Because isn't it really more Superman than Batman, who's about hope? Now, in the comics, Batman is a very hopeful character. He is a hero. He doesn't have guns. He doesn't kill people, right? Right? So we know that he's a hopeful character. And it's great that Matt finished his first arc off in that way. But then I was just thinking of Man of Steel, and I was thinking, you know what? That's how Man of Steel should have finished. Because all through Man of Steel, there's hopeful elements to it, but ultimately he can get kind of angry sometimes. He can be a bit maudling sometimes. And I just think it would have been nice if he finished off that the way the Batman finished. Because ultimately we got this big epic fight. He killed someone because in the story, the writer, David Goyer, didn't give him a choice, right? There was a choice. And that's for the writer not to write Superman into this corner. But that's not what happened. So I think that's kind of ironic, really, that the Batman finishes off so hopeful. Man of Steel's kind of finished with this big battle. He breaks somebody's neck. Then someone calls him hot. Then you get a good little ending, by the way, with Lois and Superman in the Daily Planet. But of course, when we get to BVS, he's even more miserable than he was in the first movie, where Matt Reeves actually finishes his Batman story off in the right way. It's kind of a Shakespearean movie, The Batman, really. In a way, the beginning, the middle, and the end. That moment when he dives off the building and he decides to be a symbol of hope to the people of Gotham City. And he gives the child his hand in the end, and he doesn't let go. He changes. He evolves. And character evolution is very, very important in storytelling. And when there's not that character evolution, and it's just kind of, right, so we got Superman in the real world. Great. Well, that's good, but Superman was never created to be in the real world. No, he wasn't. Superman is the symbol of hope. Man of Steel should have ended the way the Batman did. And that's what struck me when I saw the Batman. It's the ending that hits home. The Batman has learned a lesson, but Superman hasn't learned a lesson by the end of Man of Steel. He's killed someone. He screams and cries about killing someone, but he doesn't. We should hear him say to his mum at his father's grave, I've killed once. I know what it feels like I don't want to do it again. But they didn't do that with Superman. You should have got a character evolution with Superman in Man of Steel. But in the Batman, there's a proper character evolution. Most of the film, he's vengeance. But then he realizes that's a bad thing to do. He's inspired the wrong people. So Matt Reeves got the Batman character spot on in the Batman movie. And now he's evolved. And now he can be the Batman we read in the comics. He can get the Batmobile we're used to him having, right? Maybe he'll upgrade his costume, maybe not. I like the Batman's costume in the Batman movie. It's cool. It doesn't bother me if he upgrades it or not. But we will get closer to the evolution of the comics the more movies Matt Reeves does. And hopefully the sequel is greenlit soon. Because Matt Reeves did the right things. Matt Reeves didn't twist the narrative. Matt Reeves didn't take liberties with an iconic character. And if there's one character you should never, ever take liberties with, it's Superman. And as much as I like what Snyder did with the DCEU as a piece of entertainment, what he and Goya and Terrio did with Superman was the wrong way to go. And that's why they had so much pushback. Because in Man of Steel, there was no evolution. He comes to Earth. He searches for his origins. He finds his origins. Then he's faced with this alien invasion story. He kills someone. Then he starts working at the Daily Planet. So in a way, he embraces being Superman. But in BVS, he's asking questions like, was Superman ever real? Or was it just a dream of a farmer in Kansas? And that's such an un-Superman thing to say. Everyone lost their shit when Jonathan says to Clark, maybe you should have let the people die on the bus. But at least he's trying to protect his son, right? But Clark doesn't really seem to learn anything by the end of Man of Steel. And I love Man of Steel. And I'm not saying I don't like Man of Steel. I'm saying seeing the ending of the Batman and seeing how Bruce evolves. Balconator, who are the villains you want to see on the Batman sequel? I hope we see a full range of characters. I hope we get an Arkham Asylum movie, which means there's a variety of characters. I don't just want to see one villain, because I think that's what everyone's going on about, and I don't think that's what's going to happen. And nice to have you on the chat, Balconator. But yeah, everyone keeps on going about what villain. I think there'll be more than one villain in the next movie. So I think it'll be a surprise. I think he'll pick someone that no one's thought of or very few people have talked about, and he'll do something really, really cool. So I've really enjoyed my two rewatches of the Batman. Because if you watch that film, John, do you think Man of Steel and BVS was too dark for some fans? Yeah, of course it was. Of course it was. It wasn't traditional Superman, was it? Balconator, I want to see Bane in the Arkham series. You may see him, who knows? But yes, John, it's not just the darkness. The darkness isn't necessarily a problem. The problem is, as I'm comparing it with the ending of the Batman, where the Batman decides to choose hope. That's something we're used to Superman choosing, hope. But when he gets to BVS, he asks, was Superman ever real? And what he says to Lois when he's about to kill Batman as well. So that's the thing. This is the pushback that people gave with Superman. And this is why we haven't had Superman since 2017, because he's a much maligned character in the Snyderverse and the regular DCEU. But Matt Reeves did it properly. There's a scene in the Batman when Batman gives Jim Gordon a funny look for holding a gun. And he goes, well, that's you not having guns, not me. Again, Reeves making the point, my Batman doesn't have a gun. The Batman in the comics doesn't have a gun. I'm not going to take liberties. I've learned from the mistakes they made in the DCEU. As I keep on saying, it's okay to be original with these iconic DC characters, but there's some things you must never do. Fans don't want Batman killing. Fans don't want Batman using a gun. Fans don't want Superman killing. Fans don't want Superman growling. People want Superman to be pure. It doesn't mean you have to copy and paste the comics or Superman the movie. It means you have to be very careful and treat Superman like a fragile baby when you're in the creative process in live action with him. You can't take the piss. John, I want to see a Christopher Reeve type Superman again. Right, we've got to be careful here, John, with the Christopher Reeve thing, because we've had the Christopher Reeve thing. There's elements you can't do today. Yeah, there's elements you can't do today with Superman that they did with Christopher Reeves and Dick Donner's Superman. It just wouldn't work. But I think what you're talking about is the actual element of Superman being a pure-hearted hero, like he is in the comics. Being Superman, doing Superman things. So in that element, John, I agree with you. Balconator, DC changes tone. People rant on how dark it is. And when DC changes to a lighter tone, people are going to say they're copying the MCU Marvel. Right, listen, Balconator. The only people who are going to say they're copying the MCU are diehard Snyder stans. Now, I love Snyder's DCEU, but I'm not blinded by fandom. So they're the only people who are going to say that. That's an easy thing to say. Oh, I'm not... Listen, you can have a movie that straddles the tone of darkness and light. Superman Returns did it, right? There's lots of good banter in the Daily Planet with Clark, Lois, right? And Jason, the little boy, and Perry White. But then, when he meets Lex Luthor for the first time after all these years since Superman 2, Lex Luthor stabs him in the back with a piece of kryptonite. And that's a really dark moment in the film. But the film does have its light moments. So it's not one size fits all. This generation of movie talk is all about, should it be light, should it be dark? It can be both. But Superman can't kill. He shouldn't kill. Superman shouldn't be growling. Superman should be an approachable character. And I remember in Justice League when the little kids are talking to Superman, because Whedon was trying to show us what Superman meant to the world. Unfortunately, that wasn't really shown that much prior, so it didn't make much sense. But they were trying to change it to make it a more kind of, you know, Superman from the source material. So that bit with the kids in Justice League wasn't actually bad. It just wasn't the Superman we'd seen thus far. John, that's what I mean. And so, yes, basically, Matt Reeves, in the last 10 minutes of the Batman, did exactly the right thing. Oh my God, this guy's saying he's vengeance. I've done this. I've brought my city to its knees. It's fucking underwater now because I was so bitter and twisted from losing my parents, witnessing their murder, that I didn't get it. That it's not about scaring the villains. It's about giving the people of Gotham City hope. And that's what Superman does in the comics. So, and this is the problem now. Henry Cavill wants to come back and be a more hopeful Superman. It's a bit difficult for Henry now because he's already been the other Superman. So can you even do that? So these are the question marks. What Matt Reeves has set his stall out from the very beginning. Everyone says the Batman's a dark movie. Actually, if you watch the Batman, it's not actually that dark. The Batman is a psychological thriller stroke detective story. Now, they're things, really hard things to pull off, especially in a comic book movie. But Reeves' biggest achievement is he pulls it off, but he evolves his character while doing it. The opening narration, right? Forward the film. Go to the opening narration of the Batman. Then go to the end narration. He's basically learned a lesson. At the beginning, he's talking about the bat signal being a warning to criminals, that he is the shadows. He wants to scare the shit out of people. But at the end of the film, he realizes scaring the shit out of people isn't the way to go. Vengeance won't heal his pain or ease his pain. Balconator, the Superman I wanted is a Superman who just wants to protect Earth, being happy, joyful. Cavill Superman is a Superman who people looking at him as good or resemblance of good himself in a good way. Well, listen, everyone's got an idea who Doctor Who should be. even though we have so many different versions. I remember there's an episode of Matt Smith's Doctor Who, and he lets someone die, and everyone's saying the Doctor would never let someone die. But it's happened before, by the way. Superman, we all know, he has a no-kill policy. He's a bright, pure-hearted character. He's hopeful. This is why I gravitated to Superman. The first film I ever saw was Superman the movie. He was the first superhero I ever saw, but I gravitated to him. People keep on saying he's not relatable, but he is, because he's approachable. He's nice. You can believe in him, right? Some characters, like Constantine. Constantine isn't an optimistic, hopeful character, but he's a good man. But he's an anti-hero, isn't he? And he does questionable things to win the war. Superman wouldn't do certain things like Constantine would do. And I think that analogy is important. John, Batman is a dark character and Superman is not. You see, this is interesting. I think there's been a misunderstanding with Batman because the Batman in the comics, actually quite a lot, not always, of course, there's been different versions, but consistently, Batman's actually been a lot more of a lighter character than he has been in the films. They took him a little bit darker in the Tim Burton one. They brightened him up with the other two movies after Burton left. Then we went to the Dark Knight trilogy, which was a little bit real world, wasn't it? Not utterly dark. And then Snyder took him right the other way. He was branding people. He was killing people. He had a gun. You know, he was kind of a Jack Bauer Batman, wasn't it? But that's the thing about it. Look, there's this debate. Should comic book movies comic and paste their characters? As I say, you can take some liberties, but I think that Snyder, Goyer and Terrio took too many liberties with Superman. And people let them know what they thought. So at SnyderCon, Zach said one day, wake the fuck up. This is how Superman and Batman would be in the real world. But let me tell you a little secret, Zach, right? And I love you, dude. You did some great movies. You're a talented man. But nobody wants Superman and Batman in the real world. They are figures of hope, especially Superman. And that's why I'm making the point. The last 10 minutes of the Batman should have been the last 10 minutes of Man of Steel. Balconator, are we supposed to get a new Gods movie? Are we still getting it? Nope. Ava DuVernay was pitching one for a couple of years, and Warner Brothers said no, and I'm glad they did. Totally the wrong person to do a new Gods movie. I would love to have one, but not by her. I'm not interested in propaganda merchants doing comic book movies, and that's all she's interested in. You should see her Instagram. Oh my God. It's all about racial politics. It really is. I mean, that's all the woman thinks about. So that's how I am with that. So they have an opportunity now to fix that. David Zaslav has come in and said, I want Superman front and center. I want Wonder Woman front and center. I want Batman front and center. Now, if it was up to me, and it doesn't look like we're going to cease trading on the DCEU, considering we're going to get a Wonder Woman 3 announcement, right? If it was me, I would cease with the DCEU, and I would start with the Batman universe. Matt Reeves would probably do a great job of being DC Studios president. 80s Rewinder times 90s, morning 80s Rewinder times 90s. And so that's how I see that. So finally today, on today's DCEU Daily, we are going to talk about Wonder Woman 3, because when I come to my live tonight, I should be able to react to a Wonder Woman 3 update. So last week, a Forbes journalist had said he'd done an interview with Gal Gadot, and Patty Jenkins surprised them. And Gal Gadot has a big announcement. Now today, he confirmed later on today, this interview will be published. And he showed a picture of Gal as Wonder Woman. So we're going to get some kind of Wonder Woman 3 update. It could be a huge one. It could be a little one. I'm not sure. 80s Rewinder times 90s. Watched the Batman 3 times already, lol. Well, I rented it. I've got about 35 hours left on the rental. I've watched it twice. It's a 3-hour movie. I mean, I stayed up all last night watching it. And then I put it on this morning again. Because it's a 3-hour movie, it set me back. Because I'm tired from last night. And I watched it again, which is put back doing this video till now. and updating my other social media. Balconator, is Wonder Woman 3 in production or just a rumor? Right. They announced Wonder Woman 3 as soon as Wonder Woman 84 was released. We haven't heard anything, but they've been developing the script. It looks like we should get more information later on today. So Wonder Woman 3 has never been a rumor. It's a greenlit movie. But because this studio changes its mind, like I changed, like the weather changes, right? You never know what to think. 80s rewind at times, 90s. It's so good, yeah. It's so good. Matt Reeves should be front and center running DC live action. He would make a great president of DC Studios. I doubt it would ever happen, but yeah, definitely. That would be awesome. So hopefully we get some very exciting news later on about Wonder Woman 3. So it could be anything. It could be confirming that Patty is ready to start shooting it. It could be that Patty's decided not to direct it, but that's just me in fantasy world, wishing. So they're just probably going to give us kind of a timetable when they're going to start on it. They may give us some information. Wouldn't it be great if they said Wonder Woman 3 is actually a Holy Trinity movie? Oh, and Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill are going to star alongside Gal in it. Now, that's not going to happen. Probably not, right? But that would be my fantasy. That would be the dream. That would be awesome. I would love that if that happened. So, yeah. So we'll see what they've got to say. I'm kind of surprised any announcement about Wonder Woman 3 is happening. I'm kind of surprised that any announcement is happening about the DCEU thus far, because nobody really knows what's going on since the delays. It's very, very odd, the Ezra Miller situation. 80s rewind at times, 90s. I agree. Matt should lead the way. He understood Batman. His Superman would be epic. Yeah. I mean, there's understanding Batman, but Matt totally understands Batman. So he starts him off as a vengeful, dark character, but by the end, he evolves him. And that's what you do with characters in stories. And it works. When you tell the audience, oh, my character was going to evolve 5 movies down the line, who's going to wait for that? And his Batman will evolve some more down the line. But he showed the audience some evolution, right? Because the audience wants to see evolution. They don't want to wait. They don't want to be told on Vero, well, 5 movies down the line, we're going to do this, that, and the other. That's not how good storytelling is done. 80s rewind at times, 90s. Yes, he did. He gave us our detective Batman, Balconator. Do you think the potential Superman movie will take place on the DCEU or in a different universe, like the Batman and Joker? Well, it could be a direction they'll be going in. Of course, if it's Cavill, you would imagine it'll be in the DCEU. If there is a DCEU still, again, I don't know what they're planning. So we'll have to wait and see. So, yeah, you've got Joker and the Batman in 2 separate universes. That could be another way of going with the future. Just do standalone. Everyone gets their own franchise. That could be interesting, right? I mean, it'd be a different way, because connected universes do sell, but maybe they just think, fuck, we've tried, it's not worked, and they can't be bothered to try, because it's a lot easier to succeed with a connected universe than it is to fail. The problem with connected universe is everything has to connect somehow, and you have to remember everything else that's happened. That's the problem with that one. I think that's the issue. That's what makes it difficult. And so, yes, you could get a potential Superman movie totally on a different Earth. Or it could be in the DCEU if there is actually a DCEU. I think later on today, with whatever they say about Wonder Woman 3, will give us a little bit more of a clue about the future of Wonder Woman 3. What kind of update are they going to give us? Is this movie, because this movie doesn't have a release date, by the way, they haven't even started filming it yet, unless they're about to. So I'm very interested what kind of announcement they're going to give. By the way the journalist is talking, it's a positive announcement. Balconator, do you think they will restart the DCEU or continue on the present DCEU? That's the question, isn't it? That's the question everyone's asking, my friend. Where are they going to start this? Is it in the existing continuity of the DCEU? Are they going to reboot the franchise like they were going to do already with the Flashpoint movie? Are they going to still go with that plan? Or are they just going to start again with a brand new live action universe? I don't know what this new leadership is thinking. Don't forget it's WonderCon this weekend. I think it's WonderCon. And there's rumours about a Flash teaser and a Black Adam teaser, but we may not see it. It may be exclusive to WonderCon. 80s Rewind at times, 90s Mick, and coming here late. What's the news about Wonder Woman 3? I apologise. There is no news on Wonder Woman 3 right now. Don't forget, if you miss anything from a live, all you have to do is go back to the beginning of the video after the current live's finished. But yeah, later on today, a Forbes journalist has an interview with Gal Gadot, and she's going to give us an update on Wonder Woman 3. I think that's what they're hinting about anyway. But at this point, that's the only update I've got about that. I'll be back tonight live, and hopefully I can react. I think it's 5 o'clock UK time, the news about Wonder Woman, and 7 p.m. my time, Cyprus time. So that's good because that's before I go live. So I can come in with some big, hopefully, big breaking news. So we'll have to see. So yes, definitely. So very excited to find out what's going on with Wonder Woman 3. But certainly, I think we all kind of, and I say this every day and it's getting boring now, but I think we can see why the DCEU had problems under Snyder, why the DCEU has problems after Snyder, and how this franchise really isn't fit for purpose, and you can't shine a turd at the end of the day. It's been damaged. They have to find a way to start again or partially start again. I don't know. If it were me, I would probably say, do you know what? Let's give ourselves some space. Let's release Black Adam. Let's release Shazam! Fury of the Gods. Let's release Aquaman. Let's release the Flash movie. And then, boom, gone. And who knows? Those movies may end up being received well. But the Flash movie apparently deletes Superman. Well, the studio, the new leadership of the studio, doesn't want to delete Superman. That's the old leadership of the studio. So do you see how messy this actually is? And these are the big decisions they have to make. I don't envy them. I could make the decisions from my point of view, right? It's difficult because they've just made these movies. So they kind of have to release them. But if they're done with Ezra Miller, or they're worried about Ezra Miller, that could be a problem as well. So clearly, there's really, really big decisions to be made. It could be as well that Tanahashi Coach Superman doesn't happen, and they use that movie to bring Henry back, or the OG Superman, Clark Kent. But to put it bluntly, the white Clark Kent, because Clark Kent isn't black. We have wonderful versions of Supermen of color in the comics. So we've got two versions, and they're great. Val Zod's got a better backstory than Kal-El has. Very interesting and compelling. Even mental health commentary in that kind of origin story. Very interesting. So 80s Rewind at times 90. I'm off tonight from work. I'll be here later live. Looking forward to it, my friends. We should be able to feed off for the whole chat about Wonder Woman, hopefully, unless it's just an itsy-bitsy piece of news. And I will warn you, it may not be a big deal. It may not be as exciting as we think. I do think it's odd that Warner Brothers Pictures never announce anything themselves, and they allow the media and they allow their actors to do it via journalists. It's a bit odd. I mean, it's cool that Gal's going to do this. She seems very excited to do it. She's been hinting about it, and so is the journalist, for a whole week. So I'm very, very excited to see what happens. But until then, that's it for today's DCEU Daily. So I hope you enjoyed today's show. I will be back tonight around 6 p.m. UK time, so don't miss that. So until I see you again, goodbye, au revoir, auf Wiedersehen. Thank you very much. See you again soon.